Hey guys, good evening. This is Tiger. Welcome to my stream. AJ, thank you for your good evening once more. And yeah, I'm back after 2 weeks. Last week I could not stream for the life of mine because I somehow managed to destroy a significant part of my equipment by pouring my cocoa over it. So I had to wait until I was able to get a replacement, and so I'm a bit late for the unboxing stream of SimRail, like 9 days or something. Yeah, almost 10 days. It was on Friday the 13th of December that the game finally was fully released with some new stuff, with the steam locomotive and with the Kraków route more or less especially. And yeah, I played it a bit. It is nice. I encountered some problems in the scenario modes. Discussed it on my Discord. I think that it is sometimes hurtful to restart scenarios because this can sometimes confuse things a bit. What I wanted to do today is just some relaxed getting into the new content, like for example the steam locomotive. Perny, hey, he says, I like this game. Yeah, so do I. It is really, really, really a good train simulator. Spectre says, hey, good evening, Tiger and AJ. Hey, Spectre, and good evening to you as well. It's so nice to see you on the chat. And yeah, the first thing I wanted to do is to go to the Tudva, the steam locomotive, what is a sister locomotive to the German 52, what was still around far into the 60s, the 1960s, that is, as the 52.8, or in the German Democratic Republic, the Rekonstruktions locomotives, built in about 1943. This is where they start their life as war locomotives, and there are quite a lot of them around, and the Polish variant is the Tidua, and this is what we are playing with now. I'm starting with the tutorial because it is short enough. Did I turn on my markers? No, not yet, even though I prepared them here. And I wanted to try something that I have not done before, to use the heaviest layout that we can find on this locomotive. I might have mentioned this, but if everything goes according to plan, I might be able to ride on the footplate of a German 52.8 in the next year, in the course of the next year, as soon as they got their locomotive fixed and through the general inspection. And then I can check out all the things that we can see and learn here on this locomotive, if they also work in real life on a German 52.8 Rico locomotive. And I can ask the driver all the stuff that might be interesting. So the first thing that you can see is that you can choose whether you want to be driver or the fireman. So we will have a Hank, a Polish Hank. Don't know what his name is in Polish. Wojtek, maybe. He will be there with us on the footplate and do the firing and the injector stuff. Yeah, when is multiplayer steam locomotive driving? That's the thing, right? Driver and fireman for multiplayer. That is what I'm waiting for. The computer animated fireman is good with the coals, no problem, but he's very, very, very economical with the water. So the runs that I did before, he was not really refueling the boiler that much. And in real life, I would have actually been concerned that we might have a boiler explosion because the water was really running low in the boiler. Inspector says, have you heard that DTG has now announced Thomas the Tank Engine for West Somerset Railway? I have. That was the great Christmas. We were having sore neck from shaking my head. We need SimRail for console. Oh, that's a fun feature on the AI. This is Perny. The thing with the water, because yeah, that's not really refill the water properly, right? I did not. There is a possibility where you can actually tell him to fill the boiler no matter what he thinks that might be enough, and then you can go on. But and I did not really try whether we actually get a boiler explosion if the water runs too low. All the things that needs to be checked out, and multiplayer for driver and fireman. This is what needs to be installed here. And Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, yeah, I did not really spend much time in shaking my head. It's a nice thing for whoever wants to have it, but it does not really stress DTG's energy to get some more serious simulation in their game, or stress this aspect too much. Driver, and then you can choose how heavy your train is supposed to be. Wait, they actually added it. What did they add? Not the multiplayer for fireman and driver. No, they did not. But they are supposed to. Choose additional difficulty. Dark, cold, wet. That's nice. So can I just pick one of them? Or... Now dark is not good on the stream. Wet can be difficult. So let's just pick cold. The Thomas the Tank, yeah, they did not add it yet, but they are about to, as far as I know. So this is actually what they did, and well, I don't complain that they did that. But
today you will drive a cargo train pulled by Tie 2 locomotive from Sosnowiec-Dańdówka to Sławków.
From Sosnowiec-Dańdówka to
The tutorial
Sławków.
will guide you in operation of steam locomotive. You can skip it at any time using zoo button.
The zoo button.
The tutorial will show you how to move a train and give small tips about driving steam locomotive. Reverser is used to both setting the direction of motion and how much steam flows to the cylinders. Higher cutoff means more tractive effort,
Our
and
reverser.
steam consumption and lower economy. Cutoff is a percentage ratio of piston motion when the cylinder is filled with steam. E.g. for 60%, it means that during 60% OD stroke, the steam flows, and during another 40%, the steam expands using its internal energy. For typical steam engines, minimal cutoff for driving is 20%. Regulator is used to control pressure in valves by reducing a flow of steam. More open regulator, the higher flow of steam. During a drive, the regulator should be fully open in order not to lose an energy of high pressure steam. Regulator allows for smooth flow of steam when starting a train, when full pressure of steam with high cutoff value would cause a wheel slip. Additionally, one can use it when it is needed to reduce tractive effort during a drive with minimal cutoff. During this journey, the fireman will independently take care of the boiler's operating parameters, refilling water and adding coal to the furnace. Your task will be only to drive the locomotive. You can give him your tips. Move your mouse over the boiler pressure gauge, water gauge and firebox door to see possible tips. Engage auxiliary brake, pulling its handle towards you.
That's that one.
Move train brake handle into driving or charging position.
Never mind now, CD Radar. It became too boring for you. So, move train brake handle into driving or charging position. So then we will roll away. So what do we have? We have a radio, actually, a quite modern one, at least as modern as we have it on the Big, for example. We have some regulators here. Here, don't open this one because then you will lose all your water from the boiler even faster. Here you can typically see how much water we have in the boiler. It's quite high here at the moment. There is a way to I don't know which one is it. That one probably. No. This one. Here you can check if it is actually working or if it is stuck somewhere. So we actually have quite some water in the boiler, and here it is highly recommendable, I think, in my opinion, to tell. This is the injector operating handle here. So you can feed water, you can suck water, or you can disable it, and this is operated by our Polish Hank here. And apparently, how are you supposed to see signs? The window is so tiny. Well, you can use the camera number 4, actually, then you can see it. And one nice touch, actually, is that Wojtek or Hank, the fireman, that you can just disable or switch on again. Oh, yeah, well, cheating. Putting your hand out of the side of your locomotive is something that you do as a steam engine driver, no? And camera wasn't invented. Yeah, but your head, in moving your head out of the window, was invented in 1643 already. That was a thing that people did even then. Windows that were able to be opened is a thing that was around in the age of the steam engine, no? The good thing is he's reading out the signals for you. The bad news is that it is in Polish, but you can still go by it. He's actually reading out, as he is supposed to do that, all the signals that we are encountering. You'll have to learn the Polish names for the signals, obviously, right? If you are passing a red one, he will say "stój" or something like that. And when you're passing a green one, he will say something like "wolna droga" or something like that. And also for the distance signals, so that is really funny. That is a nice touch. I love that. And another nice touch is that you can actually see your water swapping around, and you can see your coals in the firebox. And here's the water. And if you drive too jerkily, the water will swap and spill. And you lose your water as you're going. And you can see the water level here in the HUD. And if you don't want to go by the HUD, you have to look at this gauge here. And for the tutorial, it might not be so important, but the one scenario that I played at some point, I just set here request to high level continuous feeding, and he's already starting to feed. He's using this thing to feed water. Otherwise, I was soon to run into a boiler explosion, and I didn't want to see that. Spectre says when you're passing a red one, he will say something not so nice. He will just read out the signal calmly. Here's the horn, in case you were looking for it. Another interesting thing here is a brake releaser, if you want to release the brakes faster. I'm not entirely sure whether you were supposed to put the brakes into fill or to open the brake releaser to be able to keep the brakes open steadily, because from my experience, if you just put them to running, they just stop you again. What is not so great is that the keys for the reverser that you usually bind don't work on this reverser here, so you really have to use a mouse to do that. No way he actually reads it calmly. I don't think so too. That marks him as a computer generated person, right? So what does he have here? He has more stuff to run the injectors. Steam blower, that is the thing that he opens if he wants to get more suction while the locomotive is steady. What you can do with a generator here, probably just turn it off. And somewhere we need to have cocks. Here's the cylinder cocks. They should be open now because we are stationary. Okay. Game wants us to release the brakes. We should have the reverser into full forward. We are still at a red signal. So before releasing the brakes, no, the scenario probably thinks that the local brake is enough to hold the whole train in place. Well, let's try to get the brakes moving. Also, see, wolna droga, and then the yellow thing was the rest. Maybe you heard him read out the signal. And then, well, let's try to get this thing started. With 6.3 in the brake pipe, we'll see if that is enough. It is definitely higher than our 5 bars that we are used to. Maybe we want to use some sand as soon as we are trying to go ahead. Full reverser and a bit of regulator. Let's see if we can get this heavy train to go. We want something like 12 bars in our steam chest. Not more, otherwise we might get wheel slips. Probably the brakes need to go higher. I've seen values of about 7 or even higher to properly release the brakes. Nice touch compared to DTG stuff is that you get actually dark smoke out of the chimney. So the brakes are still filling. And there is this old tactics of putting all the sand in front of your locomotive. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The old tactics of opening the regulator properly and then close it again, so that you don't get wheel slips. And then we decrease the local brake, and then we should have enough. Power to get this thing rolling, yes. I did not want to have him roll backwards. Close the cogs. Get the reverser down a bit. This thing is very touchy with the mouse. The paint job is nice, City Raider, yes. I agree. Good thing is we don't really need to take care of the overhead catenary signs. Can just ignore it. Oh, we have 1,440 minutes delay. I knew that I was taking it easy. But I didn't think I was taking it that easy. So, and then they teach you to open the regulator fully and do the rest with the reverser. And see where the water is going. We have already lost 40% of our water. The radio channel thing is either they are not signed at that time, or I'm constantly missing them. Can't really use the radio because I'm always skipping the tutorial. Maybe heard it. And we are actually seeing it. We are approaching a stop signal. And the brakes, from what I have seen, they are really they are attacking fast, see? Even with this super heavy train, they are attacking almost instantly. Not entirely sure if that is as it is supposed to be. Expect the things for. Attentina stoi or something like this is still halt erwarten, no? It's just a repeater here, but nevertheless, next signal will be red. 1440 minutes is 24 hours, Spectre, so relax, you are 100% on time. But it is the last repeater, what we can see from the Roman numeral 1. But to be honest, doing this in real life, watching out for the signal is really challenging. Maybe you should open the cogs when we're doing so slow. Let's listen what the fireman tells us about the next signal. He probably can see it better from his side. Ah, here's a station platform. Ah, that is the one, Kazimierz. The one that I ran on our 750 subscriber special. Anyone want to jump? Anyone wants to jump on our freight train? So now there's... Yeah, one nice thing. I don't know if you guys actually remember that I was asking for a setting where I can... What is it? Interface then? Yeah, where I can turn this off, information about next signal. You can hide it and still keep the other information about speeds and especially where you're supposed to stop and so on. So thank you for implementing this, because now I don't see the signal, and this is actually adding to the fun that you really have to go by the signals here. It's still red, isn't it? I hope we don't have to wait a whole day, 1440 minutes, for the signal to clear. Oh, this was not the signal actually, what I saw red there. Oh, this is not Kazimierz, this is Porabka. And what I saw red here was the Polish flag. The lower part of it. Sosnowiec Porabka. And the signal is now green. Now we can see it finally. And I hope... The horn, by the way, is not connected with the normal horn key. So now he should say something like Wolna Druga. It is connected to the N key, the whistle, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah. What is our water doing? Mid-berth, that's okay. But you can see how fast we are losing our water. Just fill it. He said Volnadruga. Actually, we don't need to whistle here, I think, because this is only one part of the... There's only one sign of that kind. And you only have to honk the horn at least, to according to current rules, if you have two of those signs on top of each other. This is maybe why the game does not reward us or punish us. See how dark the smoke is that comes from the chimneys. It's not just pure white steam, but with smoke in it. Finally, I should close my cylinder cocks again to not lose too much of my precious steam. Probably this heavy train needs even a bit more cutoff. Wolna droga. We're losing if I put the reverser too low. We are losing.
You are approaching very high inclination for the train, so you need very high power of the steam engine. Drive carefully and avoid wheel slip to overcome the hill. Sanding can be helpful. Your speed can drop, but be patient and precise with steering.
With steering? And let's check it out. We will have to do this with the reverser. Ah, there is actually a radio sign. A radio channel sign. Let's see if we can get this heavy thing up the hill. Without having a boiler explosion. Coal is good. But we are losing water heavily. Even though I told him to feed constantly. He just left the injector open. I think I will leave it at this for now. Actually, gaining a bit speed. So I don't think that we can run out of sand in this simulation. Don't think that we are getting wheel slips. We are actually speeding. We're gaining speed. When we're out of this steep incline, then I will try to get the brakes to running and see if they slow us down. Let's see if we can do with a bit less reverser. Do we have to take this 20 seriously, or will it... I'm afraid we have to take this seriously. No. It switched to green, luckily. And this should come from a level crossing, I hope. Yeah, it switched. Thank you so much. Having to slow down to 20 and then speed up again uphill with a heavy train is not so fun a thing to do, I'm afraid. Let's see if that brake thingy works. If I just set it to running. Without constant filling, the brake pipe pressure... Well, I hope it does not drop anymore. And the speed that we are losing, it drops. It bleeds out somehow. So what are we supposed to do? Keep it in filling? Wolna droga, attenti na stój! There is a yellow light. Old 70 sign with white on black instead of black on white. We have to slow down anyway, then we can try to save some steam, because look on our water level. Even though we were constantly filling, we're steaming away with this water. Always a bit of a guess how much reverser you need if you open the regulator again. Here is a Panto down section announced. From the changed speed limit indications, I think that our signal cleared. Dobrova Górnica Strzemieszyce. That is a difficult word, no? Strzemieszyce. And the signal is green. First time I see another train in a SimRail video. Yes, they put AI trains into the scenarios now, and they seem to be linked actually with the train position and the progress that you make in the mission. And sometimes they seem to get confused. If you restart a mission, then the train that you're waiting for does not appear. But it is quite nice, because sometimes you have to wait at the signal to let the train pass, or you have to go in a siding and let a train overtake you. So I think what they did there is rather nice. They also put in more shunting thingies, and also very nice touch. Maybe we will get to it if there is enough time in this video later. Volna droga, thank you so much. And then there will be a limit to 30, so we don't have to overdo it here. Is that if you couple up to a formation, like Attenti or whatever exactly he says. At least we are approaching a yellow signal. Again, we've been approaching red signals all the time. Yeah, what I wanted to say, if you couple up to a cut of cars with your locomotive, you can't just drive away, what you are used to in train sim world. What does this? I'm not getting to this. 4365, that is us. We are waiting for a free track. I'm keeping you go on an entry signal to give you a chance to climb to Sławków. I see. So he's keeping us at this signal here, so that we actually have a free track and don't get stopped in the gradient. I think this is the idea. Question is there any chance in keeping it slowly? Oh shit, that... No, this sounded bad, but it wasn't. Thought we were running into wheel slips. That sounded definitely like wheel slips. CD, so now we will be seeing only steam in SimRail? No! Of course not. This is why I took a short tutorial. This is why we're only like a small hour in the game. So this is actually the top of the hill because we are crossing this bridge. This is where the 30 limit starts. I think we don't need to be concerned about that. See if we can make it across this hill. So many bugs there as I could see. Tell us about it. Specifically in the Steam part or in general? So I hope the train does not stall. Actually, it should get easier now that we have passed the grade with the locomotive. .30 limit is over. As soon as the Steam, you're serious? How could you play Steam? So, what are your niggles about the bugs? At least our water is almost full again. Maybe we don't need to constantly feed it. Yeah. And see how much water we already burned or vaporized. And now we are going downhill. Still in the 30 limit because the train has not passed the end of the bridge. So we can take it easy. Now the train has passed. That is okay, so we can accelerate on. And now we are going to Sławków. And this is where we're supposed to go, no? The scenario is supposed to end there. And the hill to Sławków is what we are supposed to attack. Can we get a bit more speed? But we really need quite high cut-off values to get this train on speed. We're losing. Can we gain with lower values? Doesn't look like it.
You are approaching very high inclination for the train, so you need very high power of the steam engine. Drive carefully and avoid wheel slip to overcome the hill.
See what happened to our
Sanding
water.
can be helpful. Your speed can drop, but be patient and precise with steering.
This is what happens if you tell him to feed water only if necessary. You end up with 20% water level. And this at the foot of the hill. Did someone of you manage to complete the EEP Warszawa to Kraków scenario, or am I just unable to correctly couple pendolinos and set up ETCS? No. This one I did not play yet. I played the other one, Kraków to Warszawa, but I did not finish it because it took too long and then I had to go. And in this Kraków to Warszawa scenario, it would be actually nice for anyone to tell you that you have to change caps in your pendolino. So we will see if we actually get the boiler explosion, because we are still losing water level. And this is dangerously low already, you can see it here. Just a tiny bit of water left. So, what happened now? Yeah, game is going on. The next thing is when going uphill, you actually should get higher water level readings on your glasses here, than there actually is in the boiler, because all the water in the boiler is coming towards you. And see, the radar says exactly, I fell for it even though I was personally at Kraków station and saw EEP leaving for Warszawa in that direction. Yes, actually, to be fair, you see from what direction you are driving your Pendolino into the station. So, you know which direction you have to leave, but anyway. It's quite a hasty thing to do too. So I'm sanding. I'm at 69% reverser cutoff. There's actually a lot. I don't want to put it even higher. And with only 15% of water left in the boiler. Okay, this is what he says if you are running into a speed restriction. A flashing yellow. If we don't lose too much speed, it will be probably okay to get the reverser down a bit to save a little bit on steam. And it's still 2.16 kilometers to go to Sławków. Home signal. Every time the screen freezes, I'm afraid that the game will crash. So even the coal level is going below 100% now. Well, this is a water level where in real life I would definitely start sweating. Because what you want to do, you're in the incline, steaming uphill. And then you realize that there is not enough water in your boiler. You don't want a boiler explosion because nobody wants that. But you also don't want to stop here and walk to the station and ask someone to send the locomotive to help you. AI train, opposite direction. See how it shovels in the coal. And the water is slashing around. So at least we're quite steady with our 12 kilometers per hour and not losing any more speed, because that will probably mean stalling. Now we're actually gaining 1 click. Maybe the hill is lessening. Spectre says boiler explosion gives less action points. Yeah, you might actually end up at the next station quicker through the air, but so, if we're not losing this speed again, then I will try to save as much steam as possible. We have to slow down to 40. This will not be a problem, and then prepare to stop at the next signal. Can save the sand. Are our wheels slipping actually? Looked so fast. No, they are not slipping. They wouldn't actually be going. Or are they? I really don't know. Hard to tell. But if they are slipping, why are we still going on? Now we can prepare for the stop. So where did my mouse end up here? And I think this is the signal where the mission ends. Yes, this is the last station of the tutorial. Please drive to the exit signal at the end of the track to finish the mission. And see how the brakes always kick in. If you don't pay attention. In case we need a little pick me up. So, and this is our exit signal. Stoi! Did you hear him say stoi? And stoi we did. Here is the end of the tutorial mission. During the mission, the locomotive burned 1,376 kilograms of coal, which is 457 kilograms over the nominal value. Well, alright, so we burned a lot of coal. We used a lot of water for this heavy stuff. And, well, at least we gained 1,030 experience points and traveled 17.5 kilometers. Did we get docked for anything? Probably just for being late. No, we did not. Ah, yeah, here it is. Driving through a checkpoint late. Yeah, that was the heavy steam freight tutorial. I'm happy that they have the steam engine now in the game, even though not everyone is a steam enthusiast. Well, a lot of nice touches are in it. Some niggles, well, they are always there. Let's check out the Kraków freight scenario. For once, not play the whole thing because the scenarios are quite lengthy. That is the wrong one. Browse what I want. Yeah. Oh, I'm just too clumsy to get my stuff up fast. So, SimRail, the Kraków part. And SimRail Kraków freight. $150, lock it, turn it on. Kraków to Sędziszów. The freight one. Play it. What is nice about is the first part especially. Let's do it with the big, because that requires the most action when changing sides. Big is the one from the first DLC that was released for this game in April 24. Dong. Let's play in summer so that everyone can see. So you can pick either a double traction of the Sodemka, or you can pick a dragon, or you can use a bug. So let's take the bug. Choose your trains. I always like to get fuel trains because I like the tank cars for whatever reason.
Welcome to Krakow's freight train scenario. Your task will be to transport train cars containing fuel from station Kraków Główny Towarowy to Sędziszów. Set your course to Kraków and report to the dispatcher.
Right. Set your course. That means we are actually supposed to go. Brakes are full on. We have to wait for the brake cylinders to release. Otherwise we cannot put some power on it. Here this blue light has to come on so that we can actually get some power in this locomotive. Let's talk to the dispatch.
KGB 336-020 reporting before entry.
336-020.
I'm setting up a route to semaphore L. Please report to KGA when you're there.
Roger that. Going to semaphore L. Thanks.
We're going to semaphore L. So we're in a limit of 60, where is the line limit here, and we are approaching an entry signal, I think, or an intermediate signal or something like this, before we get into Kraków station. Here, look how nicely they made Kraków. How nicely they modeled it. The signal tells us 40 and slow. That means we're already cleared to go through the station. We're just a locomotive. You can see that we are running a light engine service. This is our train, and then we will couple and be a second train. So there is a second timetable for that. So we're not a shunting service at the moment, but we will turn into a shunting service. What is important, otherwise we would have to stop at those blue signals and weren't probably allowed to go 40. We had to stick to 25. And this is another thing that this game really does nicely, that it distinguishes between shunting services and train services in terms of what speed limit is actually available, and also for the light setup, because when shunting you use a different light setup at front and back of your train than what you would use on a train. And from what you can see, we have 2 red lamps at the back and our typical 3 white lights at the front. This is the Kraków main station. Why this is giving us yellow with white repeater, it should flash this thing, you know, because the signal is giving us a 40 and stop, so it should be a flashing yellow repeating here. So now we're getting closer to our semaphore L, where we are supposed to stop. Kraków is an extremely beautiful city in Spectre's opinion. I don't challenge that at all. Never been to Kraków personally in real life. But if it is half as beautiful as the pictures that I've seen, then it is a really beautiful city. So, the red one that you can see up front is the one that we are supposed to stop at. Get the traction out of the way soon enough. And then loco brake. Use the loco brake to stop the loco. With the train brake it is much too clumsy. So, what distance do we typically stop? 25, 20 meters. So that we can still see the signal properly. And before we punch the radio button, We changed the setup to a shunting setup, not only up front but also on the other cab. That means we have to walk to the other cab, through the engine room, and no. Oh yeah, what's the correct one? And turn off the red ones. And then we should have one white lamp. If you look at it from sitting in the driver's seat, always both on the right side, so that you can see. This is the back and this is the front of the locomotive. Then we can punch our button.
KGA 336-020 waiting at semaphore L for shunting.
336-020, good morning. I'll soon set the signal on track 110. Taken. Train inspector is waiting for you.
And the train inspector is waiting for us. And why is the train inspector waiting for us? Because we are coupling up to a cut of cars. We're getting a shunting clear. That means now we are a shunting service. And that means we're limited to 25. And we have to stop at blue lights. Luckily there is no blue light. And I will never ever get to tell the story why there is a train inspector waiting, because we're coupling up to cars, and every time we're coupling up to cars we need to make a brake test. And this is what the auditor is there for, the train inspector. Der Bremsprobenberechtigte. This opening doors is so annoying when going from one cab to the other. That's true. On the other hand, it works quite quickly. So what we need to have, we have to press on, because we're using a screw-link coupling. That means we have to apply typically some power and use the loco brake to actually press against the car and not get pushed back by the car. What is always a difficult thing to do, in my opinion. Connection. We'll see if we can couple with this. No traction anymore. And then, because we have to change sides, we will have to get this brake into full. Wait for the brake pipe to 4 to 3.5. And then disable this brake here. Then we can open the brain brake, the loco brake again. Hopefully. Brake pipe went up again. Why did it do that? Should have been... Maybe this is because we're getting filled by the cars, but we have not coupled to it yet. They should be empty, actually. Oh, why did I arrest that filling? This is always a bit fiddly with the brakes here. And I don't know the proper rules for it either. So, full Bremsung, and then without filling, locking it. Should stay now. Please stay. Alright. And, well, Coupling. Get out of the car. Yeah, we made contact, and then we can couple up. If we find it, here it is. And actually we can connect everything. Coupler, brake hoses, everything. Connect all is the easier thing. And they are rolling away. That was not intentional. So, let's do this thing with a brake next time after coupling, so that we can actually empty the whole brake pipe. This looks like someone set those cars with a filled brake pipe, because they all of a sudden started rolling away. Now the cars should be braked as well. The problem is the loco brake and the hand brake we cannot release from the other side. So we don't need any light anymore. And then we have to get our locomotive powered down. Brake, traction, reverser, compressor, converter. Then we can open the main switch probably. Get the pantograph down, both pantographs down. Radio off. Cap deactivated. Instrument lighting, wipers, windows closed. And then, very important, so that you don't drop out of the scenario, change the radio splitter to cap B. Otherwise, you won't be able to communicate with your train inspector anymore. And then, more or less the reverse thing from the opposite side. Cap activation, pantographs, and now because we are coupling to fuel tankers, we should use the front pantograph probably. Let's see if we get any juice. Blow, there is it. Then we can close the main circuit breaker, prepare it, and then fire it. And we get a blue light. That is nice. Then we can turn on the compressor, the converter. Other way around probably. First the converter, then the compressor. So that we are getting some air in our brake pipe again, instrument lights, and then a full train lighting. Oh, what I'm always forgetting is that you should get this reverser to the front. This is also connected with your mission control stuff here, because it seems like you're getting your proper timetable for your train in accordance to what you set your reverser to. Then manual brake on, because we're doing a brake test and the train is not supposed to roll away if we release the brakes. And then let's try if we can get some connection. No, because we did not turn on the radio. Turning it on actually helps.
Train inspector to
Yes, here we are.
304-040 train inspector reporting, ready for brake check. 304-040 release train brakes fully.
We're releasing. So now we have to fill the whole brake pipe of all those cars behind us. This is still going quite fast actually. But now the brakes actually have to release, and this guy is checking if they are releasing. Physically checking as...
304.040 brake.
Yeah. He was quick. He went along the whole train and knocked against the brake shoes and found them all working. Now we're braking. In those brake tests it is enough to put it to setting 6. What would be full service. From what I have experienced, I think at least. And it takes some time. That I will use to check if I released the handbrake on the other end. Because I tend to forget stuff like this.
304.040 release
Yes,
brakes.
released.
Um,
This train inspector has this weird thing of always saying at the end of what he's ordering us to do. I wonder why he's doing that. So, what did he say? Release the brakes. So this brake releaser button can speed up the process of filling the brakes a bit. But only if we have enough pressure in our main reservoir, and you can see it is a bit off the mark. But still the brake pipe is filling quite nicely. And now the gate amen inspector. Maybe it says amen to that. Maybe it just checks one brake and says, well, the others will work probably as well. Amen to that. Actually, he has to go along the train and check all the brakes if they are releasing properly. Donk, donk, donk. With a little hammer on a stick, or what they use.
304.040 brakes okay. Train ready for departure.
Alright. That means our train is ready for departure. We can radio the dispatch.
KGA 324.040 ready to depart, 3,200 tons on the hook. Train driver Balcharek.
324.040 setting departure to Przedmieście. We'll have a short stop to wait for the courier, and then we'll continue as planned.
Understood.
Courier is a different train, by the way. Now we should get a signal. Oh, what did you say? Kolotyuk. Signal. Here it is. And now when we start driving, don't forget to release the handbrakes, otherwise it will be annoying. Good thing is that we don't have to crank it all the way in the game, but just click it and then it cranks itself. So again, why did we use the front pantograph here? Because we don't want any sparks to fall on the tank cars with the fuel and explode them. We're going now on this track, what bypasses the main station in Kraków. So it's quite nice that there is actually more than one way to go through Kraków in the game. going downhill, we have to use the brake. Attenti na stoi or something like this would the firemen have said. Okay. Also prone to overbrake this thingy here. Kraków in multiplayer, yes. I think I've been to Kraków in multiplayer. And yeah, there is. I've seen it on the map. There are dispatchable stations on the way to Kraków. So, and what does not work in the scenario is actually to approach the signal slowly, to hope to just have the courier pass. Those AI trains are from
40 to Batowitz on left track. We need to let courier pass on the main track.
Roger that. To Batowitz on left track.
So we are getting sent on the left track because the courier, what is a train, is supposed to overtake us on the way. And now the signal switched, and those AI trains are triggered with our or by our progress. And this sometimes gets confused if we restart the scenario from what I've seen. And then the train does not get triggered or whatever, or gets triggered in the wrong way. Since we're going on the left track, we have to change our setup to left track running. That means the left lamp gets set to red. Sometimes Spectre has the impression that dispatcher would rather be an air traffic controller. From the way he talks. The thing is, I have no idea how dispatchers talk in real life. Well, the only idea how dispatchers talk in real life I have from reading those reports. Roger that and stuff. Yeah, you're right. If you read those reports from the Untersuchungsstelle für Eisenbahnunfälle, this body in Germany that investigates train accidents, they sometimes have a transcript of what dispatchers said to each other and to the drivers, so that if that was actually faulty, so that they can document. Yeah, this is the thing. I am not yet on the left, but should I not switch my lighting the moment that I am passing the signal that sends me to the left? Or should I wait? Should I not use the time when I'm stationary at the signal to switch the head code instead of doing it while driving? This is a question that I was pondering about a lot. I remember reading one of those reports about a train near collision, I think, on a single track line somewhere in the area between Bavaria and Austria. And the two dispatchers, the Austrian one and the German one, were not exactly on the same page about whether the trains were supposed to meet and pass each other, two opposing trains, at the station that was controlled by the German dispatcher or at the station that was still controlled by the Austrian dispatcher, so that they both allowed their trains to enter this single track section from opposite ends, and luckily one of the driver realized that and stopped the train before there was a collision. And in this report they actually had a transcript of what the dispatchers told each other, and they were criticizing that the dispatchers were not using proper formal language for the dispatching stuff, what led to obviously the misconception or the misunderstanding. This all head code thing is a stupid, anyways, a city radar. Well, at least it gives you something to do. This red lamp, by the way, tells you that you are running on resistance and that you are not maxed out on the setting for your wheel here. So if you're running without the HUD, you can see if this light extinguishes that you are on a position that would appear green here instead of red. Looks like we're going back soon enough. Typically when we're approaching here, there should be a train coming from the left and passing this bridge. A triggered AI train. Let's see if it appears. Doesn't look like it. Maybe we missed it. Or it was a different bridge. Yeah, that would be in the no resistance position, but that is too heavy. Here's the courier, by the way, overtaking us on the right track. And in this almost accident report that I was talking about, what the Austrian dispatcher said, something like, dann können wir die Züge bei dir aufeinander stupfen. And that was not clear enough what aufeinander stupfen meant in this context. Also an interesting fact, after they realized
324-040, please pull over to the side at Badowitz. EMU will pass and then we can continue normally.
okay, so we have to go to the siding and let the Pendolino pass, or the EMU, or whatever. Interesting thing in this dispatcher case was, after they realized that they had done something bad, one of them told the other one to call him on his mobile phone so that the further communication will not be recorded. But the other guy had already informed the Notfall manager, so this was all for nothing. But those reports are really interesting read if you want to know what can go wrong while railroading. And how a drowsy night shift can all of a sudden turn into an all hell broke loose scenario. So now that I am entering the station, am I supposed to switch the head code back again? Because now we are... Oops. Because in a station there is, at least according to German rules, there is no opposite track. It's all station tracks. So probably it would be a good idea to go back to the normal head code so that we don't forget it later when we are waiting at the station. They told us to do it until we get to Batovice, and now we are at Batovice. At least I think we are. Yeah, Kraków, Batovice. I think it's good enough. We go back to the normal head code so that we don't forget it if we have to wait at the signal. But all in all, I have to say, this is really a nice addition to the scenarios with the AI trains. Where you have to wait for them, where they need to overtake you. Now the EMU should be coming along. There is my red. There is one triggered AI train coming from the opposite direction. And no matter how late you are, because we are really late here in this scenario because I talked so much in the meantime, we had to wait for the EMU to pass. And now our signal was set to a proceed aspect, 40 and go. The 40 means we're going across the switches, obviously, otherwise how would we get out of the siding again? And then we are going straight across to the right track. Obviously we have to leave the switches with our whole train. And then we can accelerate. Unfortunately, the Bug does not have a roadrunner system. So they either have to look out of the window if we have a camera for doing this, or rely on the HUD. Yes. And then this scenario goes on and on and on until we get to Senjishuf, what we already know from the base game. We're coming in via tunnel, what Perny always liked to dispatch. Now the train has passed, and we can actually try to get this thing to speed. And with 3,200 tons, this train is really a big boy. If you want to go on to Warsaw, you would also go the same direction via tunnel and then Kozlów, and after Kozlów you return to the left before you get, I think, before you get to Senjishuf, and do this connecting thing that was already there before the full release. Through Sprova, I think, is on the way. Before you hit the high speed line number 1 to Warsaw. Okay guys, this will be a long run before this mission ends, but I'm really happy about this thing, this stuff that they throw at you in the beginning. Sometimes it could be a bit more clear what they are actually expecting you to do, but you can figure it out, and you saw it can be quite challenging to figure out how to properly couple and set the brakes properly so that they actually run and the train does not roll away. And for switching ends, you need to know what to do and how to get your pantographs up and down and all the systems running again. You can see I killed the train. There is no pantograph up at the moment, and I will call it a day at this point. Thank you so much for bearing with me through this heavy and cold freight scenario, and through this coupling, shunting, switching lights experience here, while the train is coming to a nice and steady stop here on the incline, and before the train starts rolling backwards, I will end it here. No, return to the game, return to the main menu. Thank you for the streams, as Spectre. Have a great festive season. See you soon. Thank you for the streams, as AJ. Yeah, best wishes for the festive season to everyone. I think I will have one or the other Christmas special around the festive season. Maybe we'll go back to Arosa without a jingle, maybe, but with the aggregates edition that I bought the other day, and check this out there. But Christmas always reminds me of Arosa. Maybe we get back there, and maybe also another second SimRail Christmas special. Thanks guys, take care, have a great time, and see you around.